Imagine a vibrant discussion between people that includes both openness and critical thought in the pursuit of truth. The Purchasing Truth podcast is an experience, a journey, an exploration of the impact that negative messages in politics and the media have on our families, community, society, and nation. Join your hosts, Bill Steirle and Tom Hazard, to discover new concepts and language strategies that will reveal effective ways of establishing truth. This podcast series will tackle current events, leadership challenges, healthcare confusion, integrity in business, and many other areas that affect us all. Gain clarity and understanding of the various truth perspectives. Welcome to Purchasing Truth.
Welcome back to Purchasing Truth. I'm Tom Hazard, along with your host, Bill Steirle, and we are trying to get our hero off of the glass mountain. And we talked last time, Bill, about setting the vision as one big part of that. So help us get from where we are here on top of the glass mountain and what comes next here.
So politically speaking, getting off the glass mountain means is that you've got to hold on to a vision and stay after the vision that's going to make a big difference. If you get caught in the details, if you get caught in how you're going to get there, if you're not building a relationship with the voter, you're going to get stuck getting off this mountain. You're going to get stuck on, really accessing the greater wealth or the greater value, because that's what all wealth really represents, is value. So our hero has just taken the hag and thrown her into the fire, and she burned up. Now, in mythic tales, it doesn't mean the hag goes away. It just means she's being transformed. And we might get another version of her later in the story, another version of obstacles. Just because you defeat the villain, it doesn't mean that the hero wins. This is one of the major mistakes that our movie and storytelling deal with, is they leave the hero or heroine at the end with no problems at all, live happily ever after in this relationship. Now that you've got past this big thing, smooth sailing for the rest of your life. Tom, have you had smooth sailing ever since you've had your wedding? Have you had smooth sailing ever since you made an agreement with a client or a contact? The answer is no. There's a whole new set of obstacles that come up.
Certainly. So
now we have our drummer who talks to his new girlfriend / relationship person, right? That he came to rescue. And she says, let's get off this mountain. And they decide that they're going to go to the village where he grew up. They're going to follow his family name. They're not following her family name. They're following his family name. She's not going back to her parents. She's going back to his parents. Why? Because he has to claim his family name or his family identity. The Democrats have to do that, and regrettably, the Republicans do too. They need to come up and they need to return to their family name, the values that got them there. It's where it goes. You can't talk about the other side being bad now. The other side is in wreckage. They're fire and flames. The Republican Party's in flames right now, in flames. Because what they say next, it's like they can't believe that this party is going to stand for this, because they've literally burned the fringes of what they stood for, conservative values, lowering the debt. Meanwhile, what they did was tax benefits for the rich, exploding the debt. That's what they did.
Sure, but they've really, their entire identity has been turned upside down and twisted by Donald Trump, who captured the attention of enough people to to elect him into office, and they did.
That's
None
right.
of them wanted it. None of the primary challengers were, they were in disbelief this was happening.
Yeah, they had no ability to deal with a person that was an advanced marketing and selling person. And when I call him advanced, I don't mean that he's good at it. I mean that he is great at messaging ambiguity. And when you message ambiguity, the believer who's already bought in because they felt good about you in the past, because they've seen your name recognition everywhere, you must be successful. Meanwhile, we're discovering how in debt his Doral property is. We're discovering how the place in Ireland has been losing money for the last 3 years. We're discovering the numbers of his ability to execute, and that people are dumping the properties. People are dumping the stock prices on the they know that or many of the stocks are, the stockholders are dumping fossil fuel. There's fossil fuel stocks. They're dumping it. Like, what is it, 10 million the last 3 days or something like that? It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Starting to dump it, because they say, oh my gosh, this is the end of this guy's road. And with the end of this guy's road, it's the end of this kind of stock. This kind of stock is not stable now. They know the fluctuation. They don't want to deal with the fluctuation being up and down. They were good with it being up. They're out. They're out. So what if they're losing a little bit of bumps between here and the things? They'll get back in. They can wait. They'll get back in if he gets reelected, because it'll be stable for 4 more years, and the pollution will stay 4 more years, and blah, 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 right? So getting off the glass mountain, our hero and heroine have got to take a dramatic change, imagine themselves in this new place. So the woman, for her part, turns the gold ring and heads in that direction. She turns in the gold ring and heads in that direction with him. And they automatically appear on the outside of his village.
Okay.
From the glass mountain towards the vision they want to go to.
All right.
All right. So now they're there. She looks at him. He's got the bag of precious metals and gems from the hag that the hag has been collecting all these years. So he's gotten the investment he needs to pay for the rest of his campaign.
Okay.
But now he's got to work on relationships. Now he's got to build a relationship. And here's what the woman says. Go see your mom and dad by yourself. Go see your mom and dad by yourself. I'll wait here. I'll stay in a hut outside the outskirts of the village. When you go see your mom and dad, remember this small detail. Only kiss them on one cheek. Do not kiss them on both cheeks. Because if you kiss them on both cheeks, you will forget all about me and you will forget all about this adventure.
Whoa.
So there's a problem here. Because as he goes and greets his parents, he's so excited and so delighted to see them that without thinking about it, he takes his mom and he kisses his mom on both cheeks, and he takes his dad and he kisses his dad on both cheeks. And they said, son, where have you been? It's just so great that you've been back. He goes, I don't know. I have this bag. I have all this. Oh my gosh, you have all this wealth. My son has came back with a wealthy man. Well, he needs to marry now, and he needs to marry somebody of his stature. He needs to marry somebody that is in the wealth class. And so they find a bride for him. And he's in a daze. He forgot all about her. She's out at the edge. So So they start preparing for this wedding. Now you see how the story completely turned. No one thought that this was part of the story. What I'm is like, how the hell did he forget about this thing? He was, doesn't he? Didn't he? Whatever. So anyway,
yeah, well, he had all this experience. You would
all
think
this
he would
experience, he
remember it.
forgot all about it. Welcome to the Democratic Party. They
Uh-oh.
forget their values. They forget to keep stalking vision. They get stuck in, oh, this person wants a plan. This person needs to understand. See, as soon as Elizabeth Warren did her plans and started laying her plans out, she already established her credibility, her smartness. Get off the damn plan and get back to the vision. Stop it. I have a plan for that. Thank you. You have a plan for this. Your staff for that. You have a plan for this. You know what the hag does? Really? What's your next plan? How are you going to deal with this complex issue? They put another force in front of her. What are you going to do about homelessness? What are you going to do about this? What are you going to do about education?
It gets to the point where inevitably she is, I'm sure, not going to be able to articulate a plan for everything that makes sense to people. And it's just, they're going to keep trying and trying until they find one that trips her up.
Right. The hag is going to look for a mistake. Something that you cannot do. It's too complex because you don't have a team built there. The vision's not completely clear. You don't have enrollment. It's like trying to change the school system, for God's sake. It's the same school system. We're using the same system from the industrial age. What the hell are we doing? It's a factory-based model.
Right.
Put people in chairs, give them a stream of information, have them bring the stream of it. It's to prepare people to work in factories. That's what our instructional system is built for. People don't work in factories anymore. We need team building, collaborative, creative, emotionally tolerant human beings that can deal with a little bit of, this is my idea, this is my idea. They got to be able to deal with saddle conversations. They got to deal with, we got to chop this project down. They got to deal with stuff like that. You just do.
Yeah.
Anyway, so now he forgot all about it. The parents find him a bride. They're preparing for a wedding. And they prepare a wedding chamber, and they prepare 3 days of parties before the wedding. And the woman at the outside of the outskirts knows something's wrong because she didn't come back. He knows. She knows. So she goes to find him. She goes into the village, and she knows that if she goes up to see him, that won't work. If she sees him face to face, no, he has to wake up first. Because if he sees her, he'll actually not believe the vision that he'll think that she's a ghost. Just like she was unreal before, she's still unreal now. He has to wake up to his own vision. He has to wake up to, why did he come there? He has to wake that up. So this is what she does. They're throwing party number 1. So she goes into her bag and she has these 3 magic acorns.
Okay.
And inside these acorns, there's a different dress inside the acorn. So she opens up the first acorn, and outside and this acorn has a dress that shines like the sun. It's made out of gold. She puts the dress on, and she goes to the bachelorette party with this dress. And the bride sees this dress, and she says, that is one of the I will give anything for that dress? The woman goes, this thing? You give anything? She goes, yeah. She says, this is what I want. I want to sit outside the wedding chambers. You know, you and your husband are husband to be, but I want to sit outside the wedding chambers.
The wedding chamber being where they get married?
Now, the wedding chamber where they're consummating
Their honeymoon suite. Okay.
the honeymoon suite.
I wanted to make sure, I wanted to be clear on that. Okay.
Right. It's
That's
like
a strange request.
It is a strange request, but she wants to sit outside. Right.
Okay.
So when the bride promises that for the dress and the exchange is made and the deal's made, the bride thinks to herself, wait a minute now, this woman's going to sit outside. Let me deal with him. So she starts feeding him wine and liquor. Now,
Okay.
the wedding party is in this entire hotel too, by the way. So the bachelor party happens the way it does. The bachelorette party has this. This is really kind of, you know, fun thing, because now all of a sudden, you know, they are in the bed together. The bride soon to be, they haven't got married because they're doing it opposite in this story. And the woman's sitting outside the door and she starts singing. But because the bride fed the groom a bunch of alcohol, he doesn't hear the singing. And the singing is, drummer, drummer, wake up. Drummer, drummer, remember where we've been. Remember the forest of giants. Remember the glass mountain. Remember, wake up. Of course, he couldn't. He was drunk. But the rest of the people sleeping heard the song, but the bride had already got him so drunk he couldn't hear the song.
Oh, pretty smart bride so far.
Pretty smart. So the second night, there was another party. So this time she opened up a second acorn, and there it was, the dress that was made that shimmered like the moon. It was made of silver. It had just as mysterious as ever. And she shows up at the bachelorette party with all of the girls and the bride and their friend, and they're all having a great time. And the bride just looks and she goes, oh my gosh, that dress is absolutely beautiful. I'll give anything for that second dress. Well, I want another night in front of the door of the res. Is that what you want? Okay, I'll make the change. And sure enough, she does that. The song sings, lover, lover, drummer, drummer, please wake up from, remember the giant, remember where you've been, remember the hag, remember the fish, remember the pond, remember where you've been, what it took to get here. Remember the vision. Now, did Obama ever forget the vision of hope?
No.
He was a year in, and some of the bumper stickers that came out after he was a year in, I remember one of them speak, how's that hopey changey thing going now? It's like it wasn't going well because they were stuck in a fight over changes to the Medicare system. The Republicans were stalling and voting and keeping away any vote on the new healthcare system.
Right.
That the people wanted them in. It's not like the Republicans, the Democrats are doing a very good job, although they were coming to the table with a wall proposal. With this is the amount that we're willing to pay, and I think this is prudent, and these are the things that we can go for, and these are the things we can sell to our constituents. Trump goes, no, I want the whole wall. he's making the same mistake. And he just keeps trying to feed his base alcohol. That's actually what's happening right now. He's trying to get his base to go to sleep and say, the commander-in-chief is in charge here. And the rallies are really kind of like that. He's just getting them drunk on the anticipation
Sure.
and the badness of the other. It's hard to watch.
Yeah.
But it's what we're all listening to, because we're captive to these two parties in bed with each other. It's really hard. So anyways, so she sings all night and it doesn't make a difference. Wakes up the next day because he's been drinking again. You know, she's been feeding him. She puts a little stuff in there or whatever to get him to knock him out, to knock him out. And that's what a counter message does. That's what an anticipatory message does. It causes the base to go to sleep. Anyway, so it's exasperating. Anyway, so one of the things that happens next is when about midday, before they get ready for their third night at partying, the wedding's going to be on the fourth day, right?
Right.
His friends have been listening to the singing for 2 nights. They've been listening to the story of what he's done and where he's been. So they say to him, hey, listen, tonight when you go to bed, you better wake up. There's somebody singing outside your door. There's something happening out there. We heard this thing. Wake up to yourself. Wake up to who you are. It's from this year, from this part of the year on, the Democrats this is who we are. This is what we're standing for. We're not standing for that. We're standing for this. And we're standing for this in such a way, we're not going to be nice about it. We're standing for this. And that's a little bit about the setup. We are standing for this. And did Hillary do a great job of standing for stronger together? No. Mm-hmm. She did not sell that message. And she did not create that vision of stronger together. She didn't, and it was a hard message to sell. Very, very hard message to sell. Because I don't like that other person over there. But still, you've got to sell compassion and empathy for the other person over there, and that we're interested in their values just to get the 10% over so you have enough votes to keep the other side out. She didn't sell it hard enough, so she didn't get the 10% to move over, and they didn't believe her. They were filled with doubt and skepticism because Trump stoked doubt and skepticism about her health.
I remember.
Her capabilities, her strengths. It's like she was a seasoned veteran, and he took her out with sizzle, and she had a steak. Like, don't take that. Anyway. Why is Joe Biden struggling? Same thing. He's trying to be nice. And yeah, he's kind of head on the polls, but now, like he's kind of losing ground a little bit. Because it's like, we don't believe that he can take on that other guy. We need somebody that with more fire. Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren are looking better. Kamala Harris looked better, but she's lost her way a bit. She's trying to rationalize with people now from an attorney standpoint. They don't want her in. If she gets in there, she'll prosecute the crap out of him because that's what she knows how to do. They don't want her in. There'll be a place for her, and she will get to prosecute him, but they don't want her in because she'll start going because that's what her attorney mind will do. Just saying.
Yeah.
And some people are going like, we're not really sure if we want her because she sort of has an edge. And we like the edge, but we're not sure if we want the edge in charge, to pick all the scabs so that the wounds can heal. We're not sure if we want that now because she will. Anyways, so just to get graphic just a tad bit. All right. So what winds up happening is that the friends get to the drummer. The drummer decides, you know what, I'm going to listen to my friends. I'm not going to drink so much tonight. In fact, I'm just going to skip the wine altogether. That's one of his friends tell him, why don't you skip the wine altogether? Because there's something important happening while you're asleep. So sure enough, the third night, the woman comes in with a brand new dress. And this dress is sparkling like the stars. It's just the most beautiful dress ever. It just literally lights up the bachelorette party. Everyone is stunned by this dress. And the bride says, I need that dress too. She goes, well, I'd like another night outside the honeymoon chambers. She says, okay. And that bride tried to get her groom to drink, and meanwhile he had to be sneaky. He had to like dump the wine out, and they kept bringing it back, and she kept putting stuff in, and he had to figure out how not to drink because she was trying to get him to go back to sleep. And this is what the base, Trump's base, has got to do, is got to wake up. And what we've got to do is message, hey, there's a better vision for America. And the better vision for America is this over here, not the vision that we've been following. And the vision is going to include strong wall security in our southern border. And the vision is going to include the anticipation of you getting your jobs back. That you're going to find that not your job back. That's a bad message. The anticipation of being able to feed your family, the anticipation of valued work, the anticipation of Americans don't want to get retrained as much. We're struggling a little bit there. Our older population is struggling a little bit because their habit pattern is they want their parents' America. They want the America of the 50s. Hey, quite frankly, I want my America. I want my parents' America. My parents, the cost of living allowed my mom and dad to raise 8 kids. The cost of living, I could never get through 8 kids right now. Best I could do is 3.
Yeah.
But it's hard because the cost of living just prevents population growth, which is not a terrible thing, but it's not a great thing if somebody wants to live into the vision of life, where some people don't want to live into the vision of life like that. Anyway, so she starts singing outside the door. Drummer, drummer, remember where we've been. Remember how we first met. Remember the quest that you went on. Remember the forest of giants. Remember how to get to the glass mountain. Remember the hag. Remember how you got food and rest when you needed it. Remember your vision. Remember what you came here for. Remember that. So he hears the singing on the inside. He wakes up took him a little bit, wakes up 2 or 3 in the morning, goes like, there is something going on outside. Yes, I am remembering. And when he opens the door and when he sees her sitting there singing, lamenting, crying for him to wake up. See, we're in that same space as Americans. We're trying to cry for the inclusiveness that we've been standing for the last couple 100 years. We're trying to wake up to that. And the difficulty in waking up to that is you've got to recognize that you've been asleep, that you got taken a bit. And there's some people that don't want to wake up to that. They just want the 50s version of America, post-World War II, where we were great back then. Make America great again is make America like how we felt in the 1950s, how my parents felt, and they were had pride about America.
Yeah, they don't want to swallow a bitter pill. They need to have some sugar help it go down or something, right?
Yeah. And the sugar's not very helpful because it's making them obese, but that's a whole nother problem. It's like they don't want to. I mean, Bill Maher did a wonderful thing about Americans don't want to take accountability and responsibility for their health and diet that is causing their health issues, that's causing their diabetes. They want the doctors and the medical system to fix it. That's problematic. There's got to be some accountability on the individual level. Some people don't want accountability. They think he can fix this for me because this is the problem and the solution the way I see it. And it's those bad Democrats that are doing and getting in the way of that. Meanwhile, if we do want a healthy country that everyone's taking care of it, we need more comprehensive of education and health messages. And regrettably, I'm going to say it's regulations on toxic food. Just saying, we can't make it available for people to eat crap that's going to cost us millions and billions of dollars in the future. We can't have that available for them. It can't be available. We, the adult people in this country, need to protect the child adults in this thing from costing us money and costing our nation in the future. If there was toxic gas spread across America that was an attack from a foreign nation, there'd be a military effort to stop that toxic gas. But there's toxic food being provided in every grocery store that's literally taking us out. And it's a really hard message to say. It's a hard truth to get at, but it's kind of a truth that our diet and our health is not good.
And some actually cities and states have tried to regulate it, like even New York City tried to regulate the
Size of the cups.
size of sodas, right? So you don't drink so much sugar. And then, you're right though, when it's a toxic gas, it gets more attention. Look at what's happened with the e-cigarettes or the vaping lately in this country, about how so many people have gotten ill from inhaling substances. They don't even know everything that's in it, and now they're discovering, oh, it's not safer than cigarette smoking like it was sold as.
Yeah,
And that's seen as an immediate health risk by the CDC, and they're going after it. Well, I guess because you inhale it and you breathe it and it looks like smoke, it's getting more attention than food.
Yeah, you're not going to look at chemical 3, 5, and 7 that have not been, it was passed and it's called grandfathering. This was in there in the past, so we don't have to retest it. It's like, we've got multiple new chemicals now that are interacting with that chemical that, is affecting. Our brain doesn't want to believe that we're a biological being that's going to die. So it doesn't want to believe that our brain can't overcome a toxic chemical when taken in, except for certain toxic chemicals. And that's got to be sold and promoted in a brand new way. But anyway.
Well, it's also beliefs that change over time. I mean, right? I mean, there were ads in the 50s that, smoking was good for you.
Right. I mean, that kind of saturation marketing is, there is a gentle shifting, but as you and I have talked on previous things about, the designated driver. I mean, designated driver went from zero, an unknown concept, to a fully embraced concept somewhere between 5 to 10 years. It was over. 88% knew the concept and knew what it was and knew they had to apply it. Because someone's going to possibly die over this.
Right.
So they started applying it. That affected alcohol drinking consumption partly, but what it did is it changed the belief regarding this substance might be fun, but it needs to be protected. You need to protect your friend and family members from when they're drinking like this, not to put them behind a wheel. Okay, so let's get back to finishing this story, because this is where it gets interesting. Because when the drummer sees the woman sitting there and crying and singing, he reaches down, pulls her up. They hug each other. He remembers the entire vision of himself, what he went through. It's remembering what we did it, what we've done in civil rights, and that we're going to do it again with the current racism that we're dealing with. Whatever candidate captures that message. Yes, we were like this. Yes, we have this problem, but we're going to do it again the way we did it with civil rights in the past. Notice I am not picking on anybody. I'm just going after the vision of racism. I'm not going to pick on trying to suppress David Duke. I'm not going to go after, look at what happened to Charlottesville anymore. No. I'm not going back there.
Right. Well, you don't have to accuse the president of being a racist. You don't have to engage in that debate.
Right.
You just say, I'm going to solve this problem. I'm going to set this vision. The implication is, and may be, that the current president does not set that vision. Therefore, maybe he is a racist.
You know that's right. Maybe it
doesn't
is.
really matter.
I'm not interested if whether or not the president is a racist or not. He might be one of those individuals that still believes that separation is important for Americans, and I don't believe that. I believe that inclusion is important to Americans, because that's what we have. Where our better path forward is inclusion. Now, inclusion is a tough word to sell. I probably wouldn't pick that word to sell, but I would not pick collaboration. I would not play cooperation, even though those two are really important words. I picked to get is like, this is what being in relationship with your neighbor looks like. You may not like all the things your neighbor says, but you can work with them. Who's that candidate? I'm voting there. Not the one that keeps calling my guy a racist.
Right.
Stop it, candidates. Stop calling him a racist. Okay, so now he's there. Okay, so we could get to closure here, because this is important here. Closure. So now they wake up. So glad you wake up. You know, and the wedding party wakes up at the same time. It's like everybody's in this, you know, in the hallway saying, oh my gosh, he woke up and heard his story, you know. And down the hall, his parents come. He says, and he says to his parents, this is my bride. She's not my bride. This is my bride for tomorrow.
Whoa.
This is not my bride. She is a garment bride. She looks good on the outside. All she wants to do is look good on the outside. Isn't that Trump? We married the garment bride. That's what America did with their vote. They married the garment bride. They didn't marry the real Americans, the real America, to the vision. America has that part of its of its history.
They married a facade.
They married the facade. Well,
you know,
that's right. They married the facade. So they did the celebration the next day. They had the bigger party that they needed to have. The two of them were reunited. The vision and the journey need to be reunited. The vision, this is what it looks like. The journey, this is what it took to get here. You don't go back and say, here's what the founders, who knows what the founders did? They just set a vision over there. And they set a guideline for what the journey is going to look like. They said, we're not going to deal with slavery right now. Founders didn't deal with slavery because they owned them. It's too complex of an issue. It's too much stuck in our economy right now. We need slavery to build this economy. They didn't say it that way. They didn't do it. You know, what it was slavery, but low paid wages. Isn't that what we're going for foreign nations to do, is we're taking advantage of low place wages that other countries that don't? Aren't we using a form of slavery in a different country?
Of course we are.
Of course we are. Let's pay attention to the journey, folks. Let's pay attention to the vision and not talk about that truth. Why don't talk about that truth? Because we feel junky talking about that truth. We need to manage the vision of America, not getting hijacked by a garment bride. Anyways, Tom, this has been a heck of an episode.
Has been a heck of a journey of several episodes going through. But I really appreciate the real message about setting the vision. And that's the big real picture and message here, is that, you know, everybody can argue facts. And, you know, it's a cliche, but I'm going to say it anyway. I mean, it's something that I learned over and over in business. You know, you can get to a point when you're arguing the facts, and the cliche is that, you know, the Titanic is sinking and you're rearranging the deck chairs on the surface to be in line. And it doesn't matter. You can rearrange those deck chairs all day long, all night long. That ship is still going down at the end of the day.
That's right. And the vision that the vision needs to be recultivated and recaptured by one of the candidates. I think Elizabeth Warren, Bernie have a better shot at the vision because they have a certain amount of strength going like this. But their message regrettably gets stuck in the Elizabeth gets stuck in details and trying to explain the vision, and she's got to stop that, and trying to teach the vision, and she's definitely got to stop that. She can't be a professor here. She has to be a visionary, and it's much more creative.
Well, that's problematic, isn't it? And then you have other people that seem to be very good at setting vision, like Pete Buttigieg, not getting enough traction yet. And can he get enough traction? You know, will he get there? I don't know. And
he's just becoming interesting instead of compelling. So he's an interesting candidate, but he's not a compelling candidate, and he's kind of struggled there. Yeah. All right, Tom. Well, more to come on this one. So I'm looking forward to our next one, where we're going to get into being able to set truth where on the right keel of perception and perspective, and we need to set the keel so the course of vision can catch the wind that it needs to.
All right. So that wraps up the whole Glass Mountain story, mythical tale. Thank you so much, Bill. Appreciate it. And we'll look forward to another great episode next time.
All right. Thanks, Tom.
Thank you for listening to this Purchasing Truth podcast. We trust that you have enjoyed this engaging and thought-provoking conversation. Our hope is that you've received value, found clarity, and broadened your truth perspective in this episode. If you did, leave us a review or visit our website, purchasingtruth.com. Join us again for another informative and content-rich discussion here at the Purchasing Truth podcast. Don't just accept whatever information comes your way. Join the discussion. Discover your own voice. Purchase your own truth.